And this match is for the RWA Championship. Introducing first, weighing at 210 pounds and heavy from the lower east side of the 6th New York City. This is El Capo, the absolute Kris Kage.
For those of our viewers that might not understand the implications of this matchup, Kris Kage is somebody that used to compete in the RWA moons ago, continues to be a staple in New York City as well as the tri-state area. Was once part of a tag team known as the Zoltan. I'm not 100% if they're still in competition, but Kris Kage on his own brings plenty to the table and is going to be a mixed bag of sorts that Mike Graca may or may not be ready for.
I appreciate that information there, Bobby Rossi, because I had no idea who this gentleman was, and I use that term loosely, I'm assuming. But he does look like a force to be reckoned with, and I have heard whispers in the back prior to this match tonight about the aura and mystique that Kris Kage brings with him to this matchup for the title.
I don't think it's just mystique that he brings. I think he might have backup in the back. I mean, you don't take a 3-hour drive out of town by yourself, right?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. He's from New York,
Right.
one of the 6 boroughs.
Yeah.
People from New York are crazy.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they would do that.
But does it get much crazier than this?
I see Katie Dietz over here, watched a bunch of my old tapes, giving the candy out to all the kids. Something I used to do back in the day.
And
But
there's nothing creepy about a grown man giving young kids candy. Anywho.
Oh. Well,
Mike Graca.
Mike Graca, our RWA champion.
Certainly a few apples short of a barrel, to say the least.
I mean, did we say his name 3 times for him to appear? Is that how that works? With his lovely blood red bride, Katie Dietz. Oh boy, the crowd.
They're already behind the champion. That's a good advantage to have.
That is. But again, as we said before, Kris Kage coming down from New York, not all that worried. Oh! There's a man who knows how to fight. Obviously taking it to Graca, not taking him lightly or easy, completely understanding what it is when you're facing an entity that is Mike Graca.
And that's just it. You brought up a very good point. You know, Mike Graca matches usually boil down into fights. Kris Kage does come from very much of a brawler's background. This is going to boil down into just that much sooner than expected.
And let's be honest, we all know Mike Graca can actually wrestle, can actually fight. He's a skilled technician. But if stuff needs to go crazy, Mike Graca is going to stand tall.
Well, Mike Graca right now on the receiving end of a plancha.
Kris Kage launching himself. Hopefully the RWA faithful in the front row over there, not too scared or concerned. I don't know if that's a smart thing for Kage to be doing, talking smack to Katie Dietz.
I think Kris Kage needs to refocus on his adversary because he's about made it to his feet. Just when you thought he wouldn't stop under pressure, Mike Graca actually has some restraint to himself.
And I have been on the receiving end of stuff like that myself, so I get what just happened. Kris Kage utilizing his surroundings, using everything he can to take it to the champ.
Breaks the count even. Forces Souza to restart that 10 count. Very wise. And to your point, you were talking about this breaking down into a fight. He doesn't seem to want to keep things in the ring.
Which isn't going to help him if he wants to win the title, because the only way the title's going to change hands is with a pin or a submission. Beating up Mike Graca on the outside of the ring, 1, might not work out for him, and 2, isn't going to guarantee him the title.
No, it certainly isn't. And I feel as though he's playing in a little bit of Graca's wheelhouse by doing this, essentially. Graca also breaking the count. Not necessarily known to be the smartest man on the roster, but Graca has been also a man of reason at times.
But fighter instinct is fighter instinct.
Fight exactly.
And we both know that Mike Graca is a fighter. And again, he is an entity. This crowd knows it. They understand it. Listen to them chant. Graca's going to kill you. It's a thing. So I don't know if Kris Kage understood what he was getting into when it came to this match or not. But Graca's not going to be someone who's going to sit by idly and just take the punishment. He'll take it, turn it around, and give it right back to you.
And that's just what's going on right here. Kage finds himself in between the ropes. On the shoulders of Graca. Wriggles his way to freedom. A little bit of an eye gouge there. Big kick to the bread basket.
Snap suplex. Wow. Oh.
Textbook.
An homage?
Yeah, I think we are.
Oh, wait a minute.
A la Guerrero.
Little Northern Lights early in this week, and now a little Northern Lights in the ring. The Aurora Borealis coming down from New York. Kris Kage needs to work Mike Graca more, not get hung up on the fans chanting against him, not get hooked up on the fact that the crowd wants Graca to hurt him, or as they like to say, kill him.
And that, you know, Kris Kage, as far as I can understand, has always been an antagonist. He always likes to get underneath the skin of his opponents, likes to get under the skin of those watching him. And that's classic Kris Kage. It seems as if he might have Graca where he needs him. You notice he's trying to slow down the pace of this matchup, and every time he does, it benefits him.
It does, because again, he's changing the tempo and changing the focus, which is taking Mike Graca a little bit out of his game. Mike Graca, no shade, has been able to overrun his opponents with his chaoticness and the aura and mystique, and if I can be so bold, his craziness.
Mm-hmm.
People, when they get into the ring with Graca, they try to have their matches, their wrestling contests, but for whatever the reason, Mike gives them nothing to work with. Kris Kage here is taking that away from him. He's doing to Mike what Mike does to everybody else. Totally in control of the match right now, stalking his prey. This Kris Kage, I'll tell you, he definitely does not look like someone to take lightly, and I'm not saying Mike Graca is taking him lightly, but Kris Kage is definitely like a cage beast stalking his prey.
And that's just it. It's not very often that we see Graca isolated and neutralized as early in a matchup as this.
Showing a little bit of offense, a little sign of life here, trying to fight back. Finally up to his feet. Utilizing his strength, utilizing his height advantage, his arm span, wingspan.
Oh! Big kick to the mush. Kage with a pin attempt, but no pressure on the lateral. Graca gets his shoulder up off the canvas.
Somebody needs to go check the wall. I think I saw one of Graca's teeth go flying.
Jesus Louises. Call a tooth fairy, will you?
I think he's still reeling from that body slam he took.
That was fantastic.
It was for the kids, man.
Sometimes you gotta, you
gotta do what you gotta do.
I love
now,
it.
is this a thing Kris Kage is known for, going up to the high rent district?
I mean, I remember him as somewhat of a high flyer, a brawler who will fly.
So this is not
really not. No, it's not out of the realm.
Taking a lot of time though, Bobby. I don't know if that's the smart thing.
Oh!
Gave Graca too much time. Got his bearings.
I mean, he fell right on his hip.
You sure that was his hip and not his tailbone?
Either which way, he's going to feel that on the ride home.
Yeah. The crowd trying to get Graca back into this. Both men down. Not often we see Mike Graca laid out like this.
No, it's not. Kage has done his damage. That cannot be taken from him. But Graca gets to a certain point. He don't feel pain.
He doesn't. It becomes a thing where it doesn't matter how much punishment you inflict on him. Mike Graca just uses it, absorbs it, rechannels it, and hits you back with it.
It's uncanny. And there's no strategy for it, man. How do you prepare for something like that? Look it seems as if right now he's catching himself a second wind. Oh!
taking his head off. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand about Mike Graca. When he wants to turn the speed up and drop it down a gear and really get going, he's a one-man locomotive, man.
He'll do just that.
He'll steamroll right through you.
Oh, a little early anticipation on that. Ace!
And then he pulls out something like that. An all-around athlete. Mike Graca, speed, strength, chaos, but a thinking man's wrestler. He's, dare I say, the total package, and one of those guys that preparing for isn't that easy to do.
No, it's damn near impossible. Really. How do you prepare for crazy?
Be as crazy as he is, I got nothing.
Yeah, really. Cover here.
Sinking in deep. Oh. Again.
And this is another thing I remember about Kris Kage. Very, very resilient. Typical of those from the boroughs.
Again, looks like a man who's seen a thing or two, so he knows how to handle himself. Also someone who looks like he knows a lot of punishment. Again, I don't know the man. I don't know his history. I don't know his tenure and his legacy. But just watching what he's going through, even with this, obviously well scouted, saw the he dies coming.
He's done his homework. You got to give him that.
And
Kris
again,
Kage coming in as somewhat of the wild card here. Has it well scouted. Ripcord. And Ace Crusher. Somewhat of a New Jersey staple there. He's pulling him up by the
bootstraps?
I was going to say by the singlet straps. Goes for that. He's going for a pile driver, and Graca just too tall.
Not for anything, but if you dropped Graca on his head, would that really do anything?
Good point. Good point.
The man is crazy. That made him more mad. Whoa. 2. Wow. Unbelievable. Again.
Cage is putting up one hell of a pace. It could be enough to take Graca out of it.
Shades of Jerry Lawler there with the pile driver.
Cover here. 2. Just 2, says Souza.
Bobby Rossi, that was about as close can be without being there all the way to the finish line.
This has been something else to watch, man. Seriously. Cage appears to be getting near the end of his gas tank. And Graca, well, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten crazy.
And again, a prime example of what a fighting champion should be. Here's Mike Graca, again, standing tall, defending his title, unlike some other champions who shall remain nameless, Nick Diamond. But what we see here is classic can-do, never-say-die mentality.
And that's a lot of what the RWA is built on, my friend.
So much so that we've had multiple people from the history of the RWA come back. Mike Graca reverse and
big back elbow. That jarred him loose.
I think Kris Kage's toe goes over there with Mike Ross's from earlier. Spine to the pine.
Did you see the torque he had on that one?
And that's a hell of a spine buster right there. Katie Dietz over here calling for the Mike. What's going on?
I'm not sure.
Is this a what is? She's got the microphone. What is she?
I'm not sure what she's got in mind here.
Meanwhile, Christian Cage, I keep calling him Christian. I'm sorry. Kris Kage going up to the high-rank district, looking like Park. Oh my God! She called him the mind eraser 3 times. She said his name 3 times and brought him back.
Yeah. Oh no! This is about to go down just like this, Mr. Cage.
Choke slam and a beauty. I don't think Kris Kage here understood exactly what just happened. Did he get all? It looks like he got all of that.
But it doesn't matter. He's going to hammer the final nail in the coffin anyway. Kris Kage, thank you for joining us. And good night, Irene.
Thank you for coming. Don't let the door hit you on the butt on the way out. Bobby Rossi, let me tell you something. It looked like Kris Kage was going to take it, going to put Mike Graca down, and then Katie Dietz summoning.
She knew the chant. She knew the call to make. Mind eraser, mind eraser, mind eraser.
Hey! He doesn't need to pop up over here. Unbelievable. This is crazy.
Folks,
Again.
thank you for joining us from the comfort of your home. Thank you for my colleague and my commentary partner, the Money Bosch, a.k.a. Luigi.
It's me, Luigi. Bobby
Folks,
Rossi,
we
thank you.
will see you here next month for the Thanksgiving Throwdown.
Tickets on sale right now at the RWAforever.com.